Okay, now that we've set up our website and we've looked at getting a title in there in the header and our first logo inside the logo div, we're going to have a quick look now at how we can start to add some text onto this home page. Okay, so I've opened up my web page. I've not opened up the style sheet on this occasion because what we can do in Dreamweaver is we can just flick straight to the style sheet here. So here's my web page and here is the style sheet that accompanies it. And of course you can always resize this area if you want to see more or less of it, or you can switch to design view or code view. I'm going to leave it on split just for now. Right, so next task, we need to work out how we can insert something in here that will allow us to achieve a layout. And what I'm going to use is I'm going to actually insert a table inside this content div. Only what I'm going to do is make the lines, the grid lines of the table, invisible, so that when you preview it on the internet or through a web browser you can't see the grid lines, and it's quite a nice way of getting a good layout. First thing I need to do is make sure that I've clicked inside this div. So if I just put my mouse here and click, you can just about see the cursor flashing, and it looks like I have actually selected inside the div. However, if I just scroll down now, not on the style sheet, make sure you're on source code and just have a quick look at your actual code, you can see where the cursor is in fact flashing. It's just outside the container div, so that's no use to me at all. I want to make sure that I have selected inside the content div like so. It's a small point, but it will save you a lot of trouble later on if you make sure that your cursor is in fact inside the correct div. And from here it's very simple. Insert, table, and just choose how many rows and columns you want. We can add and delete rows and columns later. We can merge cells within the table as well, so you don't think too much about it at this stage. I'm going to leave it, with 4 rows and 4 columns for now. I'm going to make it 100% the width of the div it's in. Border thickness of 0. That of course will ensure that the table is invisible. And a cell padding and spacing, this just refers to little margins within the cells and between the cells. So I usually put a space of 2 on there, but you can experiment and see what you're after. So if we click OK and then just click in here, we can see that the table has now been inserted inside the div. Now just to help me spread this out a little bit, I'm going to click on the magnification, take it down to, let's go to 66%, just so I can get an overall idea of what I'm doing. And if I just go to design view, and what I'm going to do is just drag this table down. Now with the 2 white-headed arrows, and if you drag down, it does them all equally. If I do it with the black arrows, it will simply just drag this bottom row down and make it a really high row. So that's just something to bear in mind. I'm just going to move it down a little bit. If you make a mistake, edit and undo. Let's just drag it down again. Now working with tables in Dreamweaver is not an exact science. It's a bit hit and miss, so you just have to be patient with this. If I just move this across now and move this up, I'll move it back down again like so. I'm not going to be writing in this area here or this area across here. I don't want it to go all the way up to the top of the div. So if I just put my cursor in here now, I'll just take the size back up to 100% for you, and I'm going to say something like welcome to the Adidas fan site. And if I just click out of that, you can see that my text appears in the middle of this cell of the table. If you want it to appear up at the top, then what we need to do is, with the mouse selected inside that cell, come down to the properties and you're looking for the vertical alignment of that cell. It's on the default option, but if I select the arrow and send it to the top, I can move my text up to the top. So I can now start to write as I wish. So welcome to the Adidas fan site. This site is all about etc, etc, and you can populate that with text as you see fit. You can then start to move things around a little bit, so maybe drag this here if you wanted some text to come in here. Again, you can just click in there and write whatever you wish. You can change the vertical alignment, send it to the top, and you can start to achieve the layout that you're after. Now if you want to split this cell further, you can do. If I just get rid of that text, with your cursor still inside the cell, if you right mouse click and go to table, and this time we want to split the cell. So if we split it, we can split it into, I don't know, let's say 3 rows. Let's see what this looks like. And you can start to change the alignment of these cells wherever you want the text to appear. So at the moment it's set to the top, I can put it to the middle, etc, etc. If you want it centered, the text, it's very easy. We simply right mouse click, align, and we choose center, and then any text or any images that are inserted in that cell will appear in the center. So at this point I'm going to stop the video. You can go and insert a table. You can start to put some text in there, and you might be thinking, well, I don't like that font style at the moment. I wonder if any of you can think how we might change that. We'll look at that in the next video. Off you go.